What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Alex August. Ooh, I don't know if I agree with this design, so we're gonna change that up. There we go, something a little bit more minimal. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is Alex August. Welcome to another stream of Vivid Life TV with Alex August on YouTube, streaming live, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's yet another beautiful Wednesday night right here in Tampa Bay, and I'm live to give y'all another chat. We're gonna vibe, we're gonna kick it. Once again, you probably picked up on the fact that I got yet another new environment. This is probably going to be more of the consistency of the environment, other than the fact that my walls are currently blank. Because as you guys will see in the upcoming YouTube video, I did move. So I'm really excited about kind of getting this space organized. I feel like it might be a little bit more space, it might be a little less space, but definitely got a whole lot of art to put up, a whole lot of just kind of creating that creative environment and enjoying that space. So right now it's just bare walls. I'm not making an excuse. I just think it's a pretty cool call out. Last week we were over at E2A Studios with Archie for that live stream with Jem, the travel hippie. So if you haven't gotten an opportunity to check that out, definitely check that out. But for tonight's stream is gonna be pretty dope, man. I have always, one of the things that I remember about buying physical movies was actually the fact that, like, there was always that theatrical cut, there was always that director's cut, and you got an opportunity with the director's cut to actually hear and see like what they did to create a scene, what it was like working with a particular actor or actress or whatever. And it's kind of like them narrating their way through the entire movie. I specifically remember watching the director's cut of 2004's Ray, starring Kerry Washington and Jamie Foxx. And I remember how much of that the director was kind of just rolling through and talking about and how dope it was. It kind of was, yo. He mentioned something along, like, just something specific that just stood out to me, right? One of the women who were playing the background singers for the group that Ray Charles ended up recruiting, Ray Charles' wife actually wanted her to play her. But of course, she was not as big of a star as Kerry Washington. So the studio was like, yeah, we hear you, Miss Charles, but yeah, we're not going to do that. So that was my idea of thinking in terms of, like, when it comes to video content creation and just videography as a whole. Like, I always think about movies and music videos. I think I say that all the time. And so I was like, you know what? With the upcoming anniversary of when I actually shot my first project, why don't I kind of do a deep dive into that? I think it'd be kind of cool, tell a little bit of the secrets. I haven't really been able to do like a full blown behind the scenes or like making the video type of video, but I think it'd be cool if we just sat down and just watch the video a year later from a completely different lens and have this conversation about, like, yo, what, like, it was just dope doing that. Like, this is how we came up with this idea, or this is how I improvised this idea, because, you know, all the whole nine. Along with that, I definitely want to talk about some resources as well. If you are trying to get into the creative space, if you are looking to kind of tap into just doing more, I 100% have a few resources that I want to talk about today in detail, right? Like in full detail. And we can go as deep into it as possible. So I'm encouraging everybody that's tuned in right now to definitely, yeah, I got you. To definitely, what's the word? Interact with us in the chat. Get into the chat. I got my boy DJ Brightlight on the Twitch. I see we got people on Twitter. We've got folks on YouTube. So as y'all are vibing with us and kicking it for Vivid Life TV, definitely, you know, be part of the show tonight, and let's have a good time. So I'm gonna run this opener, and we're gonna get right into Vivid Life TV. Let's go. All right, and so just to get into it, y'all, another Wednesday night. All right. So I guess the backdrop that I got to tell y'all about this entire project, the Perfectionist, is that I had been, I talk a lot about this whole thing of like if something is keeping you up at night, that probably means you should just go do it, right? And that was kind of the case with the Perfectionist. As I started getting more into content creation and creating reels and shooting reels and things like that, it started kind of just like itching me where I was like, I was running into actually issues about copyright problems, right? So creating reels, running into issues with copyright, not being able to kind of use certain songs on reels, not being able to use songs on TikToks and things like that. And it kind of hit me where I was like, honestly, why do I even need to like worry about all of these things? Like, I've written songs of my own before. Like, why don't I just take my own song and kind of just run with it and kind of release the song and just shoot the video for it? Like, it works itself out, right? One resource that I didn't plan on talking about tonight was DistroKid, which DistroKid actually allows for you to what is the word? Distribute your music to all of the platforms. So putting your own music to um, your Spotify's, your Apple Musics, your YouTube Musics, the whole nine yards. That is all through DistroKid. They manage the entire distribution of that, which I think is really, really dope. And I wish I would have known about it much, much, much earlier. But so I decided to go forward with that, right? Putting the Perfectionist out on Spotify. Um, I didn't really think too much about which should come first, the song or the video. But I realized at some point, like, hey, I'm talking about releasing a music video, and folks aren't really familiar with the music. And to be honest with you, now that I know what I know, I don't think it matters. So this is how we're gonna do the stream tonight, yo. Like I mentioned, if you are tuned in, let me know. Hit me up in the stream chat. I actually want to open up a question to you all. You guys can just answer in the chat. But when I released that I was putting out a music video, what was y'all first thought? Like, what was the first reaction? I don't think that I ever thought about that of like, what would it be like if Alex just announced that he was going to do a music video? Like, I that never crossed my mind. It was just like I'm going to do it. I feel like every reel that I had shot, every reel, every fitness gym video, to me in my mind, it was like it's got music and it's a video. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it just kind of made sense in that world. So interested in knowing what you guys' thoughts are. But this is how we're going to do tonight's stream. We are going to pop this open real quick. It's probably going to start playing, but I want to make sure that I get this right.
One of the first things I don't
do. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to pop this open real quick. I'm down in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Y'all can still hear me, right? Cool. Let me just make sure I can do this. So just trying to get my cameras situated and my audio. So I'm probably going to have to change up some audio over here. Give me 1 second. Check, check. 1, 2. Making sure that that's cool. All right. So this is how we're going to have to do this. All right, it's cool. We're good. We're good. So as I do this, we're going to go frame for frame, just like I mentioned in the beginning. We're going to go frame for frame. We're just going to talk through some of this. We're going to pretty much kind of just call out some things. And I know I mentioned talking about resources. Just for the sake of this overall stream, let's make it very conversational. If I have to stop, if I have to show something else, I'll definitely do that and try my best to get back to it. But the idea behind this is I kind of want to tell a story of what went into this project, what went into, overall just kind of building this out. And I think one of the first things that I always start with is like the who, the what, the where, the when, and how. And there's a few pieces to this, right? I think the hardest part that I was always nervous about, and I'm always nervous about this part here, is the who, like finding people to be part of your creative ideas. I think in the past, old me has always been like, well, I see you, and I see what I want to see in people. So I'm like, yo, you should, just using this as an example. It's not a jab at anybody or anything like that, but like, hey, yo, I see you, and I see a person who has the potential to mold yourself into a radio host. Now I think there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but after a while you get to a point where you just like find the people that are already doing that. So that's just growth. That's just something new that's kind of new for me. And so I immediately tapped into people that I had already created with, people like Janine, who I know has done her own modeling, her own photography before. She was doing my hair, my stylist. So I knew we had conversations about like creating and things like that. And I knew that I could communicate creative ideas to her. Sandy was supposed to be in the video, but unfortunately she could not make it. My friend Sandy, who you've probably seen in one of my funny reels about like shooting on Sundays, right? Which, bringing that back, by the way. Reached out to some people, and then the outlier who I had never worked with was actually Bella, who shows up in the second part of the video, as well as Tiara. So there was a lot of like a blend between the three, of like 3 and 3, but definitely always shout out Talia, which is funny. Side note, anecdote, but when I was building the treatment for the video, homegirl Talia, we known each other from college. She's an AK Psi. She joined Good Knocking. She was part of the team with Good Knocking. But when I was working on the treatment, she actually kind of came, it's like out of the blue. This is chance, but like out of the blue, she just messaged me out of nowhere and was like, hey, quick question for you. You used to have a song from college that I had heard that you did this and this and this, and I was wondering where I can listen to it at. And I was like, well, it's not on Spotify. It's nowhere right now. But I was like, yo, crazy that you hit me up as I'm building this treatment. I want you for this video. And actually, I flew her from Texas to Tampa to be in the video. So it was just like I had Southwest credits, and I was like, yo, if that's a blocker, it ain't nothing. I got these Southwest credits because Southwest asked me not to get on a plane. They gave me like $1,600 worth of travel credits. I didn't have anything planned where I was going to need to be flying Southwest, so I made that happen. So yeah, it was kind of cool. And my idea was to definitely have it simplified, 3 and 3, 6 people. 6 people requires a lot, which it goes into like availability, and that's where it was kicking my ass, right? I was trying to lock in dates, trying to find time. How much of everyone's time do I need? Do I need, 2 hours? Do I need 3? How much can I get done in a small amount of time if like I can't get everybody together? The idea was supposed to start in February, supposed to start in March. And then eventually I was like, look, if y'all got a time in April, it'll give us 4 weeks to get everything ready, and I get to have the conversations with y'all to see where this is going, so that we don't just show up and try to wing it while we're there. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, a lot of that still ended up happening, but everyone knew the vision of what we were trying to get to. So this is one of the resources I want to talk to y'all about, Peerspace. When it comes to sourcing locations, finding places to shoot, when it comes to just overall like trying to build that whole situation out, I promise y'all, Peerspace is one of the gems that I came across that someone showed me actually during or shortly after Afropunk Miami. I was in Miami. Shout out to my boy Francie. I've known him since he was a little kid. Crazy that he's taller than me. But he put me on to this Peerspace idea. And the idea behind Peerspace is like, oh, I need a venue for a birthday party. I need a venue for a meeting, a retreat. I need a venue for a photo shoot. I want to take pictures, just me and my girls. We want to take pictures and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's essentially the Airbnb. And I know Airbnb is like it's like the Kleenex now of whatever, of hospitality spaces. But it's like the Airbnb of trying to find a venue for your projects. And I think that's like really, really significant. I think that's really, really big. So it's like you get a chance to find spaces around town, kind of nooks and crannies and all these kind of things. And that was the one resource that once I locked into it, I was like, oh yeah, I get to book studio spaces. I get to find spaces around town. And so when it came to finding locations to do the video in, I used Peerspace. If you use this code, this QR code that's now showing in the stream, if you use that, you actually get a chance to get $50 off your first booking. So I highly recommend it. I have recommended it to people. I have seen them use it for birthday parties, surprise birthday parties. In the Tampa Bay area, I will admit that there's not a lot of creative spaces, or at least there were not. It's growing a lot. A lot of people are kind of putting their listings on there. I know there's a lot of, now that I'm in like model groups and things like that, there's a lot of people who are actually putting that information out there for, for you to book a space, right? I'm going to shout out people that I know because they're people that I know. But shout out to my girl, Cedrica. Cedrica is the owner and she operates the DIY room, right? The DIY room is on Peerspace. We talked about E2A Studios last week, where I did my stream last week. Shout out to Archie. That is his creative space, a beautiful, dope space. I'm going to share some of the photos that we took afterward. But to that point, Archie's studio is also on Peerspace. So I also know that like Shelby Soul has used Peerspace before. So it's a huge resource that when you get an opportunity to dig into it, it kind of unlocks a brand new level of just creativity and what you can do. So definitely check that out. I'm gonna leave that up there for a little while for you guys. That was the where. Peerspace. And then the how. This is another resource too I'm going to tell you guys about. I think I talked about this on a previous stream of just building out storyboards, right? I One of the weaknesses that I have, both as a creative and sometimes even in operations sometimes, and I think a lot of people suffer from this, where like I can't really tell you, so I gotta do it to show you. I wanted to make sure I didn't have that this time, because I can't be a woman in a video, right? And I'm working with 6 women, so I need to be able to communicate visions, execution, how things are going to be done, how I want it expressed. I need to kind of tap into what's inspiring me to what idea and communicate that to other people so that they get what I'm coming from. That's always been a struggle for me, right? It's been a struggle for me in terms of, like I said, creativity, and I was trying to just be literally on the other side of the camera, and that's a contradiction because I'm in front of the camera. But the fact that I'm in front of the camera with them means that there's like limited resources for us to do a whole lot of like not figuring it out. My level of improv is different from everyone else's. So for that, I used Milanote, which also is a resource that I've been put on game on about as well, where, when I think of like visions, right? Most people are using like pins and boards from Pinterest, which is cool, but like sometimes Pinterest is so much of like curated content from other people, you don't really get a chance to like put your why or your how into like certain ideas and things like that. So I used Milanote. Milanote allows you to create that treatment, that storyboard, put stuff in, and kind of like beef it up, yo. So the Milanote was beefed up. The vision, the treatment was beefed up with, all right, the easiest way for me to do this is to use a couple of movies and visions that I know of that I can like, pretty much kind of bring to life that way. And once we had like 1 or 2 meetings where I expressed the vision, I think some of them were still like shaking their head, not shaking their head, but scratching their heads. But I think for the most part, it was like, okay, I'll get a feel for what it's like when we get there. And that's pretty much like what I was on. You know what I mean? I was definitely on.
One of the first things
let's get this thing popping. Let's get this thing rolling. And so we'll talk about some of the other pieces. I don't want to give too much away without actually digging into this. So let's get into the Perfectionist. I got the chat open. If you guys want to just kind of post, talk, ask questions, definitely get this piece. So this is the space that we got from Pure Space. And this is basically, it's funny. I made sure that, and we're talking about timing. I made sure that everyone was able to get their makeup done and things like that at my place. The shout out to Edwini Francois. She was doing makeup, and we had to kind of get moving. And unfortunately, we had to get to the spot very, 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 very soon. Tampa Heights area. This is actually a really dope spot. I was hoping that it looked better in person. It did not look better in person. It actually kind of looked a little grungy. But I think that was kind of the dope part about it, right? And so when everybody was still getting their makeup done, I actually decided, yo, I just need B-roll, right? I can't be in this space not shooting content while we're here. Like I can't be sitting on my hands. So I pretty much kind of took it upon myself to just pretend to be cleaning. So kind of getting a little bit of the stress out a little bit, you know what I mean? And just kind of, just grabbing footage of just random stuff. So that kind of helped me stay calm and me not freaking out because of how much we needed to do. And one thing about it that I didn't mention yet is like one of the fun facts about this. I was originally going to shoot with my Canon Rebel T6, but I actually despise that camera for video. Like it's just not good at all, right? Not good at all. And then the other idea here that I was glad it ended up working out was as I saw the space in the listing for Pure Space, I kind of saw that it was a little grungier. There was almost no office equipment. I was originally supposed to be, I was listed as like a protagonist, like male protagonist. Y'all know me. And my idea was actually to be in a suit running into like an office to grab paperwork and leave. And then this whole scene would actually play out. But once I saw the space, I was like, yo, it's a little grungy. So I should actually just be like a janitor or something. And, that's not, I don't know if that really is a janitor outfit. I couldn't really figure out what a janitor outfit looks like. So that was that. But this whole scene kind of setting it up. We actually shot this last, the whole like me erasing the board and all those kinds of things, just to kind of get that in. And that scene there, we ran that a couple times because if you guys have not seen this video, it is available on my YouTube channel. I'm playing it without sound because I'm speaking as well. But overall, like this whole thing was just a lot to take in. The song itself, something that I actually don't talk a lot about. I don't talk a lot about like music and production, but this song was actually produced by me. And ironically, I produced the beat itself in 2009 while I was like at USF, like living in a dorm, just kind of, whatever, just had a program on my computer. I think the next jump was like everyone was going to Fruity Loops and things like that. It's so funny. People hate that now. And I was just like, I want to get into music production. And I created this beat and like sounds like 808 and Heartbreaks. You know what I'm saying? Like you're 19 years old, like hella Kanye inspired. And I'm like, whatever. And I decided to like just create this beat and eventually kept it for so long and then ended up writing the song itself in 2014. So crazy, like just, but yeah, one thing about this piece here, the original idea, had it not been for just being conscious about like who I'm working with and the fact that like every idea doesn't need to be brought to life. My original idea for the Perfectionist was kind of crazy, yo. Like I imagined like, exotic cars driving down the road, women in all white. And then, there was like one scene that they were like, and this was from years ago, maybe 10 years ago. one scene of like women in all white walking in like a caravan, and every woman was walking with a chain, and the chain had a collar around a guy, and it was a lot, yo. So my fun fact number 5 is that in one draft, even as I got closer to doing this, and I shouldn't admit this at all, but like I was like, oh, what if I like had like a scene where it was like a whips and chains kind of thing, and I was like, bro, calm down, like you're doing too much. So I think for everyone's sake, I'm glad we did not go forward with that part. But in this scene, kind of called out that all the girls should kind of be mannequin-esque. It was like kind of robotic. This was just all like Ex Machina. I couldn't stop thinking of like Ex Machina, how like if you haven't seen that movie, how the robot girl was a little uncomfortable, almost like uncanny valley. But I just was thinking about like, yo, I just need y'all to stay as still as possible because y'all are supposed to be like, prototypes, and like this idea of like y'all are this video is moving fast. Jesus. But like they were supposed to be just like prototypes and just robotic. And I always call out that Janine was, I don't know if she had a lot on her mind or if my girl was blazed, but she killed it. Like I was like, you're not even blinking. As soon as I was like, all right, mannequin action, it was like she just zoned in. So that was really, really dope. There's a lot of writing on the board, and all of that writing is purposely done. And I can talk about that a little later as I talk more about this. But this whole scene was, I imagined that the markings on their body would be more, and this is maybe my only slight criticism of it, is like I wish that we would have done more with the body marking, right? Make it more plastic surgery, but also for the sake of like, I'm not gonna take it too far. Again, I didn't want it to like expose things, highlighting things on folks' body. If it was like my body, I would have 100%, gone all the way. But I'm not gonna like put markings on other people's bodies that highlight maybe something that they might be insecure about. So I wanted to keep it there, but also a little, favorable and not taking things too far. And then this scene, of course, the infamous bounce. This was 100%. This was 100% improvised. That was not part of anything. I just did it, and I was like, "Yo, it'd be kind of dope if we all did it at the same time, almost like I'm the guy pulling the strings on y'all, like what I do, y'all do, and things like that." And then one of the coolest things one of the hardest things that I think too is that first act, that first act is all of maybe 10 videos. There's more to it. Like we shot more, but this is only, actually, I think it's only 6 to 7 videos that create this whole piece here. And I was 100% like worried. My biggest worry with this video was like, yo, I hope I don't run out of content. Like that would be awful if I can't finish and I don't have enough video. So there was this like kind of weird thing that I did where, I kind of asked them to do some things that were just never going to be on video. Like it was just like, yo, I just need y'all to loosen up a little bit, but also like, I don't know, I might need just a segment of you guys just against the wall. So it was like, hey, I need y'all to do this. Hey, I need y'all to do this. And ironically, because I did start running out of footage, like some of that actually, like that scene there of like Pam just kind of doing whatever. I didn't need that. Like, and I'm okay with admitting it now, because it's kind of funny a little bit. But at first I was just like, I just want y'all to feel loosened up and ready to be on camera. All right, each one of y'all go against the wall. I need you to dance for 30 seconds. And I was like, actually, a little random, but I think it kind of fits a little bit. I hope I don't sound like a super villain, but but overall, like day one, we all left feeling completely okay with day one. There was a whole lot of bloopers, but there was a lot of good synergy. Like I mentioned, I had worked with everyone here before, So it was kind of like they know that the ideas kind of flow and kind of go off, and I bounce ideas off of them. What are y'all comfortable with? What are y'all not comfortable with? All right, let's roll. And I knew that I wanted to do this transition of like day one versus day two. They had no idea what this transition was going to be like, but I knew that I wanted the second video to feel like a scene out of Sin City, right? One of my favorite movies. I think one of the things that always kind of drew me to Sin City was like it was that like noir cop kind of movie, and then the highlighting of the red against the black and white. And I was like, yeah, I want that in the video. I think that would be cool. It was super hard to do. And something that I should also call out as well, in just the what factor of all of this, was that all of this, if you don't know, if this is your first time hearing this, all of this was shot with a it was an Android phone, right? Yeah, all of this was shot with a Google Pixel 7 Pro, right? So I showed up to set with the Canon T6, and honestly, it felt, and this is something that I always like feel I just got to get off my chest as a creator, is like the only people that care about who you're shooting with is like people who don't know like how much what can do what, right? And I knew in my heart of hearts that like, yo, when I get to set, man, I don't know if I feel like trying to like make it seem like I can shoot the video with the Canon T6. One, I hate the I think I said this earlier, the T6 is not good for video in my opinion. Definitely a great photo camera if you got the right lens and all that. But motion, movement, to me, I could be wrong. If you have a camera, or if you're a videographer or creator and you have other opinions, let me know. But I decided to shoot it with the Google Pixel 7 Pro. I know that I could get the 4K quality, and most importantly, I knew that in my back pocket I had my favorite tool, which is for editing, which is InShot. So I knew that I could do what it is that I had in my mind or in my vision on InShot with my phone. So I was like, look, everybody's gonna probably be like, I can't believe he's doing this. But when they see the finished product, they'll be like, wow, I can't believe that's done with a phone. And so I went with this kind of red against the black and white, which was actually kind of hard, man, because our skin does not go black and white in a certain, like our skin actually doesn't just completely go black and white. And when you're still pulling out red, when you're still popping out red, I should say, it actually becomes harder because our skin actually has red in it. So finding the greatest balance of how to make everyone actually black and white and still at least having a little bit of brown but no red in their skin was probably what took the longest to edit this part of the video. It was either like the black was just super, super black, or it was not. And then, of course, this was day two. So this shooting took place in Clearwater on April the 8th, 2023. And this day felt like a little bit of a impending disaster. The space was not as big as they said it was. They listed the space as like 1,500 square feet. And when I got there, y'all, it was nowhere near 1,500 square feet. It was more like maybe four, like maybe like the size of a really big hotel room. And the actual space to shoot was even smaller. I think it was less than 10 by 10. My idea was to have space for people to walk and like move around and have all three girls like on set at the same time. And when we got there, like I had to do so much improvising and condensing the vision into something smaller. So that was like a little bit of a panic. But once everybody got their masks on, the ski masks on, playing loud music, I was like, all right, like, in the first half of this video, it's like be a mannequin. And then here it was kind of like, yo, no one can see your face. Like just be whatever you envision yourself as when you think of like an absolute, like, I use the word an imp, IMP, which is like a childlike, almost I don't want to say demon, but like a little, like an imp, right? And I was like, just be bad. Just be as bad as you think you can be, and we'll just roll with that. And so these scenes of throwing the roses, the bottles, the just like everyone just gets to improvise whatever they want to do and whatever they want to be. And the way the red just pops out in this, to me, was always kind of dope. Bella got her grill in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like what the stereo, I don't even think it's close to the stereotypical like rap music video. I didn't want that, right? I just wanted them to be like bad. And so this scene was actually, this day was rough. But I'm just thinking about, like, by the time we got to this scene, we were running out of ways to crunch 4 of us into the scene. You know what I mean? Like I'm using a tripod. We don't really have a director behind the camera being able to like adjust things and move. Everything is very, very static, just still. And the back wall is like falling apart. Like it was rough, but I think being able to chop it as I was cutting, I was like, yo, I'm not gonna have a chance to have these long windows of footage like I had in the first half. So I was like, it's got to be a lot. Like it's got to be a lot on the eyes. Shout out to the boots. These boots could not have came at a better point. These boots were on the vision board. Okay. So it was just a lot of like really fast cuts. As you can see, some of these clips are like 11 seconds. Some of them are like really short. And it's just like, I wanted it to be a lot on the eyes because, you only get so much. You only get so much time to before like someone's like, I see the light fixture in the top right hand corner. You know what I mean? But this is also by far, I think this is peak, like just the words, the lyricism. And I knew that in this video, when we got to, and if she's made in God's image, how is vanity? I needed the shot. So I was on set like, yo, y'all, we didn't get the shot. Like, I don't feel like we got the shot yet. I need the shot, just like I need something that is just the part where everybody is going to like drop their jaw at. We need that. We had that for the first part. It hasn't shown up yet. But I was like, we need that. So there was a lot of experimenting, a lot of like one-on-ones, a lot of just like, all right, we're kind of just gonna do it all. Like, let's just get all of it, and then I'll figure it out in the editing. That champagne bottle was kicking our ass, y'all. And like you can see, oh my goodness, hold on, I gotta go back 1 second. You can see some parts of where, sorry, I lost my train of thought. That scene there, not that part. I'm sorry, not that. This part. I am going to post the actual clip of this part. And the idea is, if you ever see the blooper reels of all of this stuff, it's like there's a scene where I'm like telling them what I want them to do, hands on the hips, turn around, smack. But this scene in slow motion looked so dope. Like, just, it's in slow motion and you can't quite tell because it's slightly sped up, but like that head turn was everything. Watch this. Yeah, like it I can't even explain. But yeah, so you can see just pieces of us just kind of getting like crazier and crazier as the video goes, and I just have to play this part with the key part here.
Selfie with them auburn lips, the mirrors with her friends. If she's made in God's image, how is vanity a sin, huh?
So yeah, it's just there. This whole scene with the ski mask is supposed to be. This is also another one of those scenes where I just asked them to do something that unfortunately it made no sense. But it looks really good at this part. So a win is a win. But yeah, the idea of the whole baddies, like the contrast of the girls being three in the beginning, three in the end. Three is like they're trying to be perfect. The other three is they're just these like the baddies. They're bad girls. And my thing about that I wanted to kind of do that was a little interesting was like if you really listen to the verse and what you're looking at, if you take the second half with the baddies and the ski masks and apply it to the first part of the video and take the first half of the video and apply it to like if you switch the two scenes together and their verses, the first verse is about the girls in the second verses part. And I did that intentionally because the whole song is about how us men, we have to break up with our expectations of women, right? We create these models in our head of like, well, a perfect woman is a woman who got a low body count. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want, and then like a girl with a low body count comes, and then you guys are just like, oh, well, I just don't want a woman who's pure like that. So it's like, which one do you want, bro? Because what you're rapping about is not what you're going after. And so that duality, that kind of like conflict is what I did in the video. Like that's why it is that way, because I wanted to show that like there is no perfect, like the only perfect woman is the woman that exists in your head, bro. Like you're gonna get a woman who has lived her entire life being herself, and then you meet her, bro, at a bar. You know what I'm saying? Like at church. Like you're only gonna so that conflict is what I wanted to kind of show. I knew that that's what the song was about. Turning that theme and that message into a video was the difficult part, and the whole perfect thing kind of plays into it, even in the sample as well. So the sample is from a movie called Evita that came out in 1996. And Evita is about this woman named Evita Peron, Duarte, Evita Peron, who becomes like the vice president or the first lady of Argentina. And she comes from nothing. She became like a model and became like, she kind of worked her way up the chains, eventually marrying a guy who becomes president. And when she died, she was so beautiful. She was so loved. Her husband loved her so much that he embalmed her body. And at her funeral, they all saw her in all her glory, right? Perfectly preserved, exactly how she was as soon as she died. And the story goes on and on and on about how he got exiled, and all he wanted after he got exiled, he was like, just give me my wife's body, please. And so like that idea of like a perfect woman, bringing that into this song, like eyes, hair, mouth, figure, all must be preserved and all that kind of stuff. Like I thought it was kind of cool to drop that in. But that's kind of what all of that means in terms of like those visuals. And then the hardest part about day 2, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna front with y'all, I'm not gonna hold you, was that unfortunately we didn't get the shot, which I'm gonna talk about that later and why I'm glad we didn't get the shot. We didn't get the shot and we ran out of time. So I left day 2 of this shoot very much like I have no idea what, like I have like 3 minutes, I have like a minute and a half left of video. And I only have so much. Like there's only so much chopping of this scene here where I have the girls walking in front of me. I think this whole scene is like a minute and 11 seconds. I'm like, I only have so much. Like I gotta figure something out. And so I'm like, all right, maybe I can shoot another scene. We'll find another location. I'll secure something else. And the locations were all booked up. They were super expensive. I couldn't find, like everyone's availability ran out, even for myself. I was getting ready to go to San Diego and then to Europe. So I'm like, oh man, we gonna have to figure something out. To which this scene came forward, and I have a love hate relationship with this scene. I'm kind of hard on the judgment, but I decided to still pull from Sin City. And anyone who's ever seen Sin City remembers that everything was red in the movie except the villain, who was highlighted in yellow. And I guess I'm not the villain in this video, like, but I just wanted to kind of continue playing on the Sin City theme here. And so the gold, the yellow, there's red here, and this is kind of like this is actually shot in my apartment against a black backdrop. That is a white backdrop thrown thrown over like a table. My coasters, again, gold. The gold ring, like this is like a date with your that perfect woman that all of us men have in our head. Okay, and that was the money shot from day one. All improvised. Shout out to Pam because she killed that shit. But that was like my favorite part of day one. Just getting this scene of the girls like Talia and Janine down. Pam just started doing it, and I'm standing on the insurance isn't going to cover this level on a ladder. You know what I mean? The top part that says "Do not stand." I'm standing on that anyway, and shooting with my tripod all the way fully extended over the girls. And I'm like, all right, everybody down. I'm gonna record you guys slowly getting up. And Pam is just like not into that. And she just started doing a kind of motion. And I was like, wait a minute. I need to go back and I need to do that again. And then you go down, and then all three of y'all come up. And the whole scene, I'm like, be like water, be like water, be like water. And just kind of, and it came out so well, so well. And that scene is used in multiple pieces of the video in its entirety. That bottle of champagne, like I mentioned, was kicking our ass because I don't know why we couldn't get it open. And that scene right there, getting it right at that point where I can get all three of their eyes, I was like, that is. I mean, y'all are probably just like, oh, this is kind of cool, but like to me, that was like they go from prototypes to almost like sirens, or almost like just this whole scene to me just felt very, very like it was just wrapping everything up, especially with the wording of this verse.
Yeah, her hair long and her tats out. I guess we in the same boat. Guess we drink the same thing, same reasons why we don't smoke.
And so this part here was actually hard one, because I remember showing the first preview of the video to all the girls, and they were kind of like, yes, it's cool. I mean, it looked real good, but you could just feel like the end didn't feel completely wrapped up. To which I was then like, all right, let me tie the bow on this. And I actually figured this part out from a video that I did on Instagram of just double layering the video, and then also kind of just doing this whole I don't know if y'all remember the old Apple commercials with the iPod, and the people were like black and white and stuff like that. And they're in the background listening to their iPod, and they're like dancing and stuff like that. Like I was like, all right, cool. Like I know I can do that. Let me try to replicate that. And I'll use the red to continue popping the red out. I ran out of footage, so I know that I have, if you go on my channel, I have a video called The One Shot of the Perfectionist. I have the one shot video. I have another angle of that, and I have a couple of scenes left that I can play in slow motion that'll kind of like work because they're so slow. And I'll probably just have to double layer some of these. But this is all the same clip playing over and over. But what makes it pop is now I'm talking to this last verse is I'm talking to the perfect woman in the fantasy, right? And like every guy has to break up with the perfect woman, and this is the verse that basically is saying that. Her hair long as her and her tats out. I bet she in the same boat. Guess like the same thing, same reasons why we don't smoke. Like she's just like me because we all want someone.
Her hair long and her tats out. I guess we in the same boat. Guess we drink the same thing, same reasons why we don't smoke. Guess you like leopard print, cause I'm tight to say, girl, make a move. I used to have a dream, girl, but don't be offended, cause it ain't you.
Bars.
I can't sleep around you. You do things others can't do.
I can't sleep around you because you're whatever. I'm not
Everything I thought about you, goddamn girl, they coming true. Santa Maria, Ave Maria, your dress is immaculata. Skin so caramel, I break big bucks like a star for your macchiata. Eyes, hair, mouth, movement, hands, magic, rings.
And that was, I don't know, if you caught those 2 words, but it literally says,
I break big bucks like a star for your macchiata. Eyes, hair, mouth, movement, hands, magic, rings, glamour, diamonds and pearls. Make this girl's life faster. Shopping in curls, make this girl's life lavish. Fine things and finer things. Balm in designer jeans, South Beach and her favorite things. Too many reasons why she can't find a ring.
And that pretty much like literally just wraps up the whole ending. Is like just I'm like, all right, let's go back to the fast motion of bum 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 bum, like just kind of just keep cracking at it and just going through it. So the ending of this, I was super worried about because a lot of this was probably, except that, was probably more B-roll and that. There's a lot more like B-roll, but I think for the most part, like it ended up working. This champagne scene, obviously the nerves were high, we're rushing, and I was just like, honestly, if it helps us all loosen up and just be in character, we can pop the champagne bottle. Okay, you can drink it. The only caveat is I need footage of you drinking it. I need footage of you. We were supposed to have a hookah, and I was going to try to have red lipstick on everyone, but red lipstick with a red mask definitely felt like overkill. So, and then the owner of the spot was just like, no smoking. I don't care if it's hookah. And he was from the Middle East, and he was like, no hookah. So, it kind of just threw off everything, but just being able to like break it down and getting us at least to get some form of high action, high energy, just going crazy, which literally these last few scenes, I was shouting at them like, I need y'all to spaz, yo. Like, I need y'all to legitimately go crazy. Like, I need you to kick. I'm just like shouting at them. And that's how we get these scenes of like Bella shouting, T is in the back with the bottle, Kanissa's, kicking and shaking the dread. And it was kind of dope that all 3 of them had locks, right? So there was some cohesiveness to this part. And I think it just worked really, really well. So, and had I not done this impromptu, one shot thing of trying to get some extra footage for the video, I think it would have definitely landed a little off. So yeah, that's just a backdrop on the table, dog. And being able to stitch this ending up to just calmly close with the tattoo that I ended up. I when I got that tattoo, it reminded me of the Perfectionist. It reminded me of if she's made in God's image, how is vanity a sin? So that was like all of the pieces to it. That's all the pieces that make or made the Perfectionist. Kind of crazy that it's already been a year, and then pretty much releasing that in June of last year. 6 hours of filming and 11 weeks of editing. Editing has not ever been something that I'm like, it has never been easy. But InShot, again, I don't know if you all use InShot. If you do, let's do that. Like, what do y'all use? Like, if you're team CapCut, let me know. But if you're team InShot, let me know. I know CapCut is kind of the new thing now, especially with their desktop app. it brings a whole nother level of ease of use to the game that I think is kind of dope. I use Adobe Premiere for like my YouTube videos and things like that, but like InShot, just being able to just kind of sit back and legitimately just sit on your phone. You're not doom scrolling, so shout out to you for being productive, but just being able to be on my phone and just like sitting there and kind of doing something really, really quick, for a minute long video, 30-second video, exquisite, right? A couple pieces of footage. But for 40 gigs, was it 40 gigs? I think it was 32. I think it was 32 gigs of video footage across 6 hours, 2 days, and trying to lip sync and synchronize all of the pieces and the verses. There was easily 5 different versions of the Perfectionist video. It was hard, and the hardest part about it is, between between the shooting days and the day that the video released, I couldn't really take any videos, bro. Like my phone was full. Like I'm working, making sure that I don't like accidentally delete the footage. I think I did at one point. Luckily, it was backed up, and it's always backed up. But like, it was just really rough. So 11 weeks was, obviously, I'm counting that from the day we wrapped up footage, which I was trying not to immediately get to editing the very next day. If anybody knows me, you know that I actually put out a video the very next day. I sure did. I did a day one wrap up. And all the way to 5:42 on the day that the video was supposed to release, there was a small edit that I made that I just was like, I can't, man. And I can show y'all what that edit would have been. There was just something about the way the reds were showing, and the reds and the blacks were showing, that I was like, nah, man, I don't want it to be overly contrasted. And if it is overly contrasted, like it'll be very obvious that this video was shot on a phone if it looks like that. And I didn't want that to be the case. So I was like focused on, this has to be completely crisp. We're shooting in 4K. Some shots are in 60 frames per second. Anybody knows me knows I don't like that. Everything else was in 24. So it was like, yo, let's get it as crisp and clean as possible without the obvious, like, oh, this was shot on a phone. And so when I noticed that, like literally at 3:00 on the day of, I watched it on my phone. I watched it on another phone. I watched it on a tablet. I watched it on my TV. I watched it on my projector. I watched it on my computer. I have 3 screens. So I watched it on my computer. I watched it on my big screen. And then I watched it on another one. And like, I was just like, I want to watch this on everything I can possibly watch it on, to make sure that I get the consistency in the video quality that I want. Because, dude, it only takes one like graininess in the corner for it to be like, oh, the guy shot this video on his phone. What did he think? Right? I didn't want that. So, if I'm going to be representing for Google, I got to make sure that it's going to stand its in its lane correctly. So that was the big thing. But yeah, man, it's crazy that was now a year ago. And within the last year, I've put out more music and more video content. If you haven't already seen the latest, it's the Insomniac, which is a complete pivot from the Perfectionist, yo. Like, I have now just this idea of just shooting more of these, just shooting videos and videos and videos and videos. That is my content. Like, I don't see why not. I've been checking out like the Book of Clarence, and I've been listening to interviews from James Samuel, who's the director of the Book of Clarence. If y'all haven't already checked that out, I highly recommend you do. But this guy like wrote all of the songs for the soundtrack of his movie, and all of those songs apply to the movie, and they just work and they're woven into the movie. And I'm like, man, I wish that more people just embraced that kind of level of creativity. I wish his movie didn't flop, basically. Book of Clarence had no reason to flop. It was so good. But I just respect that from a standpoint of like, if we don't need to have all of these like such specific labels on like a person being a content creator and thinking that it's just reels. Like, nah, that should be a gateway drug to so much more things for video footage and video creation. So for me, the gym workouts were cool, but I know that I hate running into copyright issues. Like, I hate it. And if I can write my own music and create my own music, that's kind of crossing off the tick boxes for being a storyteller, for journaling, for getting my creativity out. And then now I have music to go along with my videos. So why not? Um, I would do the Insomniac, but I'll give y'all guys a little bit of a break tonight in terms of my talking. But yeah, did I go through all of my little fun facts here? Let me see here. Yeah, did that. Yeah, the break room. Most of what was written on the board was referencing my old songs. Yeah, I talked about. Well, I didn't talk about that actually. Let me see if I can get this to work again. But yeah, so just the overall like history of the Perfectionist. Um, I don't really know what is important. I feel like sometimes I think about things, and obviously, like there's pieces of it that like I think about that I think, like the whole old to me, new to you kind of situation. Old to me, new to you. Yeah, and then I realized that like who cares, right? Nobody cares about the process of getting the song out. Like it's all about the video. So let's see here. More skin. Birdman hand rub. Yo, let's talk about it. So that's something that I also wanted to highlight too. I was very serious about like, hey, I need y'all to understand that like I want this video to be artistic. I don't want this video to be raunchy. And with that, there's a line in between that where I want y'all to feel comfortable in the execution of this video. So I was actually really, really, really specific in asking, what are y'all comfortable with? I didn't want to create a vision and an idea and then be like, oh, I need y'all to do this. I need y'all to do that. I need y'all to be twerking. I need y'all to. Nah, there was no twerking in that video. There's no shaking ass in that video. And I was just like, yo, we don't need that. Like, we can still create this vision for the video without like you all exposing or doing something that is later on possibly like I want you to be able to show your mother this and say that you were in a music video. And I showed my mom this video, and her only criticism was like, why everything gotta feel so scary, Alex. So that was that was like the only somewhat negative feedback, and it is what it is. But yeah, I didn't want anything that felt like uncomfortable. Like everybody being comfortable on set was something that was like I was actually overemphasizing it. You know what I'm saying? Like when we got to the part of like, the champagne and drinking the champagne, I'm like nervous, like, yo, okay, like, oh, I don't like drinking on set. I don't like drinking when I'm doing any kind of creative work that involves photos and videos. I don't like drinking. I don't want anybody drunk. I don't want anybody high. I don't want any kind of drug use or anything on set for a number of reasons. One, I don't want you to come to me later on and say something along the lines of like, hey, I need you to take that down because it don't look good for me, blah, 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 blah. I don't want anyone to reach out to me, post that, and do all that. And number two, both or all of those things affects your eyes, right? You drinking alcohol, your eyes start to get low, you get a little bag, like your eyes get red. You start to like you can see when somebody is drunk. And if we're here trying to get a video off, I don't need to have extra delays of me having to be like, yo, you're drunk. Yo, can we get it? Like trying to figure out how to bypass that. Like it is in your system. You are digesting and metabolizing. Like we don't have time to try to figure out how to get through you looking like down the fifth of vodka. And so that was something that I asked everyone was, yo, can y'all please just make sure when you come on set, like, you know, you will have designated like changing areas and please don't smoke or drink before you come. We obviously drink on set, but I think the whole idea of like, oh, I gotta go do a video, I'm nervous, I'm gonna drink before I go. Like, nah, man. Like, nah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that at all. So the idea of more skin, it came up, but I was like, nah, we don't want this video to be raunchy. Like this is a video that I absolutely want to be a portfolio piece for all of us here that are involved. So just wanted to make sure it stayed in that area. But yeah, I'm open to questions. What questions do y'all have about the production or the creative side of this video? I kind of want to show y'all the just for where we at, minute 10. I do want to show the other edited version of the video that did not pass the vibe check. This was the 345 version of the video. Let's see here.
And she work out and she love it.
Like it's just so black. And it's like it has super. Oh my goodness, this is the contrast on this is way different. Man, and I remember just it was like 5 o'clock. Yo, I watched it on my computer. I was like, I think it looks pretty straight. I watched it on the projector, and I was like, yeah, it's too black. Like it's super super black, and it's super super contrasty. Money shot. It's super super contrasty. Like especially in like some of these scenes, it just the white to black to red. It was too much. It was doing too much, and I was like, nah, bro. Like I gotta go back in. So I had to get back on my phone. 5:45. I'm like texting everybody like, yo, bro. Like oh my goodness, it actually looks really bad. Jesus, oh no, like types of ashy. Everything just looked ashy. Like it was either super super black or ashy, and I'm like, nah, bro. I need perfection. Like if this video is gonna be called a perfectionist, I need perfection. Then there was a piece there where the color came off, so it was just, oh, it's over. No, see, yeah, I was like, do I redo the whole video 2 hours before this event when I'm supposed to premiere it, or do I just risk being late? But at least the video is like perfect. And I was like, bro, bro, this is the one opportunity I get to justify being a perfectionist. I was like, I'm gonna do that, bro. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, it was man. I love that video, and I'm glad that like more videos are coming from it. So definitely stay tuned, man. If y'all have not done so already, and I love the fact that every time I do these, y'all are tuned in with me. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support on that video. As of right now, it is my most viewed video on my YouTube channel. If you want to check it out on there and see the full video and see some of the behind the scenes and the blooper reels, all of that content is actually on my YouTube page. If you want to check out the Insomniac, also definitely check that out. That is the most recent video that I've shot. There's no treatment to it. The treatment that I had went out the window, but I was up the other night and I was moving and packing and I was tired, and I was like, I'm already up, I might as well do something productive, and I decided to shoot that video. So Everything you see in that video in terms of some of my behavior is actually what it looks and feels like to be, 2 days with no sleep. Some of it is exaggerated for slow motion effects, but a lot of that is some of it. Yeah, that's that. So I actually have been planning my next video, and I want to be able to get some engagement from y'all in terms of how we make that decision. And I think the best way to possibly do this, and let me know what y'all think. Chime in the chats and in the comments. I never changed that, did I? Twitch. Chime in the comments, but let me know. I think I should record one shots. And the idea behind a one shot for me is like, it's more of a performance video where I'm doing a performance showing, kind of displaying and giving you an opportunity to kind of digest the music without too much going on. It's like a visualizer, I guess you can say. I can do a one shot, and then a one shot of each song that I'm thinking about, and then have you all vote on what video should come next. Summer's coming, and I feel like that is just prime time for me to shoot a dope video, because we're still technically not in summer. So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about. And just in terms of what videos those are or what songs those are, like there's like the Tourist 2 and the Tourist 1. I should definitely figure this out. But I think it should be like a voting situation. But I think I'm gonna figure that out, right? And I've got clips. Like I've got clips, and I've got clips from performances because Vivid Nights was a performance event, so I have that. But speaking of Vivid Nights, I've been asked a few times on what's going on, if that's coming up, and I have all of the intention on bringing it back. Oh yeah, it is raining. It's raining hard. I have all of the intention on bringing it back, but I'm like, we're running into some walls in terms of locking, a venue down and things like that. Even with Peerspace, it is still very difficult to find a venue that just checks off all the boxes, y'all. And so that's like my big project. But I think I had, and I don't care about releasing information and things like that. Like I had conversations with E2 Archie last week about the possibility of doing Vivid Nights at his studio, because what he has there is actually really nice and something special, I think. So it's just a matter of like building that out. But yeah, in terms of next videos, I think it's just going to be a voting situation. So stay tuned on that, y'all. And of course, as usual, stay with me on these Vivid Life TV streams. It's been pretty dope, going pretty dope. I lost count of how many of these I have done, but every time I do them, I'm like, it's a lot of work, but it's kind of cool. So I appreciate y'all for chiming in. I'm gonna run that back on the Peerspace QR code if you want to check that out. If you have any projects of your own that you want to kind of get something on the books for, or somehow, some way kind of get into, like I said, use my code, you get $50 off on that. I can do a whole 9 yards in terms of that, but I think that would be better as an individual video of its own. And then lastly, bringing back up Milanote in terms of just being able to create your visions and things like that. So, forgot about this little ticker right here. Want to look for venues or events, creative shoots, birthday parties, etc.? Check out Peerspace and get $50 off your first booking. See the QR code. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. We're not going to go all the way to 90 minutes. I have always talked about trying to keep these low, but I do want to take some questions. I want to take some commentary. What do y'all think? What are your thoughts on the Perfectionist? What were your initial thoughts when it was announced? And what did you think it was going to be? I feel like I do a little bit of maybe too much mystery at the beginnings when I'm announcing things. I remember that we missed the meeting where it was like I announced that I was releasing a book and then I, released the name We Missed the Meeting. And like somebody was like, oh, it's fiction. I thought it was like a ebook about how to be punctual. I thought it was an ebook about how to be professional and punctual. Like, nah, bro. Like, I could see how you thought that, but nah, like what I look like. So yeah, like I think with announcing the Perfections, I think maybe there was a little bit of like, what new fruit, what new you know fruit roll-ups is he rolling out next kind of situation. But interested to see y'all thoughts. But nonetheless, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. If there are no questions, if there are no commentary, y'all, I'm gonna turn it in early so I can vibe and hang out while the rain falls on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday night, yo. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Bright Light, for tuning in. I see Darius and Strange dropped in with us as well. So I appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, man. And we're gonna keep this thing rolling. Next week, I will be on this live stream with Lori Chanel. She is actually a model from South Florida, and the owner of her own brand, Short Model Syndrome. So we're going to talk about breaking into your own lane, making moves, and of course, being in that space. So looking forward to having y'all next week. It's always open. The door is always open. If you would like to be a guest, or if you know someone who would like to be a guest on VividLife TV, definitely check out that QR code, fill out that survey, and I will get in contact with you about scheduling your appearance and your vibe, yo. Like, it doesn't always have to be an interview. It could be a shoot the shit moment, you know what I'm saying? It could be just us just on a live stream, just talking about whatever under the sun, right? There's different ways to build these out. We can talk about current events and topics. We can talk about, what's going on. We can do interviews, or we can just be on and just kind of rack up the engagement. So however you want to build that out as you join, as you become a guest on Vivid Life TV, we can definitely do that. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to having you guys both behind the lens, or I should say in front of the lens, or in the commentary as the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up. Thank y'all. As usual, check out the playback for this. It will be filled with chapters. It'll be filled with all kind of goodies for you to take a part of, including those resources like Peer Space and Milano. So, without further ado, y'all have a beautiful night, and thank y'all for tuning in to Vivid Life TV with yours truly, Alex, the man. No, I'm playing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. With Alex August.